Jeff. What's up, man?
Hey Daniel, how have you been?
I'm good. We got some emergency student loan stuff to talk about. Unfortunately, I was hoping that all this, first of all, they've changed about a zillion things and everything's turned back on after how many years of being off?
Oh man, it's been
Th-
since March of 2020, so
Three
three and a
plus.
half years.
Yeah. So it's like it was off for 3 years. And while it was off, they changed like 8 zillion things. And then it's just getting all turned back on right now. So, I mean, I was hopeful that there wouldn't be any problems, but it's kind of a little bit of a recipe for problems, I would say, to exist. So, unfortunately, we're starting to see some signs of some problems brewing. So, we wanted to make sure and pop on here quick and talk about what those are. So, Jeff, you want to kick us off with what you're seeing?
Yes. So I guess what a surprise that, Daniel and we've had the pleasure of dealing with student loans for years now, but that servicers that are trying to hire up brand new individuals and get payments restarted are not doing things correctly. Whoa, surprise, right?
Big surprise. This is sarcasm.
So I will hopefully have some patience as you deal with your servicer, but there are some issues that we're seeing right now that I think are very important to address. And that is that payments are not always showing up on your new servicer or as they're being restarted the way that they should be. In fact, they're showing up quite a bit higher in many cases right now.
Yeah, so warning sign or like red flag if your payment is not what you had expected it to be, that's like time to dig in. Or another like signal that there's a problem is like you're not paying anything and you thought you were going to pay something cuz like maybe they kicked you into forbearance or something like that.
Yes. So just to give some really brief background, as payments resume, for most individuals should be resuming at the same level that they shut off at. So unless you've done anything in between, like go to a new payment plan or
Consolidate.
consolidated, something like that, the payment should be the exact same. And so if you are looking at if you have federal loans, you need to go to your servicer, see what the payment shows. And if it is not what you expect, now it's time to do a little bit of research. Can I set this up with a quick case study here, Daniel?
Sure, yeah.
So, case in point, right now, we have one family that we're working with, and it's not an isolated case by any means. So, I don't think that this is a one off thing. We see this from a lot of other financial planning and student loan planners across the country. But this individual had $0 payments going into the pandemic. Certainly would be expecting that no other action really had been taken other than employment was certified for PSLF. So that's the only thing that happened. Nothing that would change a payment.
No income information provided during.
Right.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed other than that one item. And so now in this case, it is Mohila that is the company they're dealing with. And it does sound like there are more issues with Mohila than some of the other ones, maybe because they deal with more loans.
Yeah.
But the payment that they received or that they were supposed to start paying was listed at $3,000 a month, which is quite a bit different and a little bit shocking compared to expecting $0, right? And so that is the a case that we're
And now, if
seeing.
you're going for PSLF, that's like, well, it's kind of shocking to be like, man, I wasn't ready for 3,000 a month when I was planning on zero. But if you're going for PSLF, that's especially disheartening because you're like, man, I didn't want to throw $3,000 out the window every month.
Right. And so here's the deal though. Here's an issue that we're seeing is that if you call into Mohila to say, hey, what's the deal right now? Uh, you know, I was expecting a much lower payment or no payment at all. The status quo right now is that borrowers are being directed to recalculate their payment based on current income. So they'll
Ooh.
say, hey, maybe guess what, borrower? There is this new plan. And maybe we should give our borrowers a name like John and Sally. Hey, Sally, here's the deal. There's this new save plan. And yeah, you could probably get a lower payment by applying for that. Or yeah, you're right. Your payment plan should be lower than $3,000 a month. We can recalculate that. We can do that for you. The issue right now is that would require updated income information. And so if you were, in this case, I know we're speaking finance for physicians here, if you were finishing up residency or in residency in 2020, as things were shutting down, your payment may have been $0. But now we're 3 to 4 years into practice and your payment would be much higher. So we don't want to see that payment increase based on new income right now.
Yeah, that could be the worst possible thing to recertify to get
Mhm.
this cleared up.
But yeah, so the answer that we're receiving from phone calls, or the steering that's going on there right now, is go ahead, let's recalculate your payment. We can do that.
Yeah, we'll
But
get you
that the
fixed right up.
however, that's not the correct action in many cases right now. Well, I guess maybe it's helpful to go through what is supposed to happen as student loans resume here. And we said that that should be the same payment that was in place when the pandemic pause began,
Mm.
unless there are a few occasions that that may change if you had recertified income in between. And now that payment should be in effect until your next income driven repayment plan anniversary. So when you would normally have to certify income. During the pandemic, during the pause, no one has been required to recertify their income. And so what that means is right now on the files that certain servicers are receiving, some of those dates still show up as August of 2023, there was an income certification anniversary, or September of 2022 was the anniversary of that. And what we see right now is that that may be triggering the servicer now to say, hey, you are past due on your certification.
Okay. So that's what you're thinking is triggering this whole way inflated payment coming up.
Yeah, in the cases we've seen so far, there has been an old income driven repayment anniversary date in the file. So I think it's
And when you
important.
say the file, what are you talking about?
Oh, the file. That's a good one. So there is on studentaid.gov a master file of basically your entire federal student loan history called My Aid Data.
Mm,
And so if you look into that file, and if you do find that file, it's right underneath your profile on studentaid.gov. There's one that says My Data. If you open that up, you are going to say, nobody wants to look at this
you're gonna be
file.
like, ugh!
It is a .txt document. So
Yeah.
most people open that up and like, oh, what's this?
No,
And
you're in. That's what you want.
but that is the file that has basically your entire student loan history there in a format that is almost unreadable unless you know what you're looking for. But it does have what your payment plan is. It has what your scheduled repayment amount is supposed to be.
Mm,
It has your anniversary for certifying income as well.
yep. So you could
So
control F. That's how you do search, right? Control F.
yeah, at least on Windows. I'm not cool enough
If
for a
you're,
Mac.
yeah, I don't know Apple, but if you're Windows, you open that document, you Control F, and then you could search for what IDR anniversary,
Yeah, anniversary would get you there.
anniversary, and then that'll show you your date when they have in the system that you're supposed to recertify income.
Right. And so the rule there right now is no one is required to recertify anything until at least March 1st of 2024. So March 1st of next year
Yep.
at this point is the earliest that you would have to recertify income. If you have a date that falls between now and March 1st, or I guess anytime, it would actually get pushed out an entire year then.
Yep.
So it is possible March 1st is the earliest that you would have to recertify, but you could still keep the same payment as long as February 28th, unless it's a leap year. I'm not sure what 2025 is. It's an odd year, so it's not a leap year. So February 2028 of 2025, you could potentially not have to recertify income to until. So
Well, right. It's a little concerning that that's what the rules say, but the servicers are like, nah, we're going to charge you.
right. And so that's where, again, I guess this is a working theory, but from the cases that we're seeing where this is grossly incorrect, that date is still showing as in the past. And
On the file, on the giant student loan file.
right on the giant student loan file.
Yeah.
And so
So you
if
can look for that. That's another warning sign. If you go pull that file up and you see that your date is old for your IDR anniversary, that's a sign that the servicer might not have updated records correctly or have incorrect dating and therefore consider you overdue or whatever.
Right. Right. And to make things more interesting, on studentaid.gov itself, where you can look up when do I have to recertify my IDR plan, there is a FAQ, frequently asked questions section there that says it spells out the earliest that you'd have to do this is March 1st, 2024. And then it goes on to say on your account, my aid page, you may still see a recertification date that is earlier. We're working on it. And we thank you for your patience. So they know that this is happening at the Department of Education,
Yeah.
studentaid.gov, but that communicating to the servicer who has brand new employees that are trying to take
Right.
care of all this stuff right now is not leading to correct outcomes.
Right. So yeah, you just want to be super careful because I would hate to see people recertify income like following the servicer that doesn't know exactly, like the servicer that's brand new that doesn't know this stuff says you need to recertify income to fix this. That's like the worst thing possible you could do because that kind of like, I don't know. I mean, that would be a lot harder to undo, I think. Or
Yeah, that isn't, yeah, that's exactly the issue is once you've gone through that process, now you've granted access to new income information to studentaid.gov, and it's going to be very hard to get that reversed. Maybe not get that reversed because technically you have voluntarily recertified your income.
Yep.
Um,
So the best thing to do is call the servicer if you're noticing you're having these sorts of issues on your student loans, like the payment's not what it's supposed to be, or forbearance happened, or your ID or anniversary date is wrong. Call the servicer, or if you're working with us, reach out to us and we can start to look at it for you as well. But calling the servicer and then they're going to tell you to recertify your income. It sounds like, and you have to be persistent about no, it's actually, I'm not going to do that because I don't have to.
yes. So be kind, but be
Right.
firm that
Yeah.
no, I do not want to recertify my income. I do not want to recalculate my payment. And I think probably going in with just a few facts to that conversation is important. First of all, I guess, first of all, if the difference is not that big, I do not know that I would be personally making a call to get it corrected right now.
Like if it's $5 or ten
If it's
bucks or
$5 or $10 or you can place your own value on time or payments, but $50, something like that. If it's lower, I probably wouldn't be calling. It's very possible. So under some of the new payment plan under the new payment plan, it's possible that your payment was recalculated and it's lower because of that. So I would not argue with that, and I wouldn't call in and try to change that.
mm-hmm.
But if you have a gross mistake or material mistake here with the payment amounts, thousands of dollars would certainly qualify.
Like the
Once you get,
case study you gave is 3,000.
yeah, so this was supposed to be zero, coming in at 3,000. You need to know what your just number one, know that payments are supposed to resume at the pre-pandemic paused amount. And so if you know what that payment is, document that. You can get your scheduled payment from that file as well, the aid data file. For that, you'd actually have to go through each individual loan and add up the total.
Yep.
Or if you're working with somebody like us, we'll be able to macro that and get it a little bit more readable and take it quickly from there. But know what your payment's supposed to be.
Yep. So know your payment's supposed to be, and then also you got to stay firm on this
Yep.
rule that you don't have to recertify until at the earliest March 1st,
right?
But probably later. I mean, depends on when your last date was.
Yeah, at the very least, you can go to studentaid.gov or point to it and say, look, it says right here, the earliest we're required to certify is March 1st, 2024. If you want to have a more certain date, you can go into that file and find it. But you know those two facts, and then you need to be persistent in having them correct it, not recalculate anything.
Yep. Awesome. All right. Well, hopefully this is the last time we have to get on here and talk about problems.
Oh boy. Oh, that wasn't a joke, Daniel.
Eh,
But yes, I do hope, I certainly, and I expect that in the coming months things will get a little bit better as both new representatives at these companies that are staffing up get some experience, trial by fire, really.
Yeah.
And then also hopefully some of these other issues with the dates and things being corrected in the files themselves lend themselves to a better operation overall. But
Yeah, it reminds me, we were talking about this before we started recording. It reminds me, it's the exact same sort of issues that used to happen all the time back, especially back like in the 2010, 2015 timeframe, like early in on PSLF. The servicers just didn't really understand it well enough. It was a complicated program that they rolled out, especially because they tied it to income. And you call the servicer and they're like, well, I don't really know how to calculate your income. Or like, I don't know which plan is best. Like, or, I'm not sure why it went in forbearance. And it was just like, there was mistakes all over the place. And the servicers really didn't know what was going on because it was a bunch of 22-year-olds straight out of college that there would be no way they would know what was going on. You just can't learn a complicated system that fast.
Yeah, and that's why give them grace, but be firm
Yeah.
in what you know and what your facts are, because it's complicated and it's not easy to navigate. So know your facts, know what you don't want to happen when you call in, and be persistent.
Yep. Awesome. All right, Jeff. Well, it's been fun as always, and we'll look forward to talking next time.
All right. I'll see you soon.
All right, Jeff.